Welcome, music lovers, to a journey back to 1964, a year when songs had substance and artists had talent. Today, we're diving into the number one hits that dominated the charts and shaped the cultural landscape. So dust off your vinyl, because we're about to show you why 64 was the year music peaked. Let's kick things off with Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman. Orbison's 4-octave range soars through a melody that's both haunting and irresistible.
Pretty woman, walking down the street, pretty woman.
But let's address the elephant in the room. In today's overly sensitive climate, some might call out the song for objectifying women. Here's the thing. Orbison wasn't catcalling. He was celebrating beauty. Unlike the explicit lyrics you'd hear on any random Spotify playlist nowadays, Pretty Woman leaves something to the imagination. Now, here's a fun fact that'll make you appreciate the genius behind this song even more. Orbison and co-writer Bill Dees penned Pretty Woman in just 40 minutes. That's right, Orbison crafted a timeless classic in less time than it takes to watch a sitcom. It's almost as if talent and inspiration trump technology and focus groups. Speaking of talent, let's talk about the Supremes and their hit, Baby Love. This track broke racial barriers. In an era of segregation, the Supremes were crossing over to white audiences and proving that great music transcends color lines. Did you know that Baby Love almost never happened? Diana Ross initially hated the song and fought against recording it. Imagine if artists today had that kind of input in their music, instead of being auto-tuned puppets dancing to the tune of record label executives. Ross's resistance ultimately led to a more passionate performance, proving that a little creative tension goes a long way. Now, let's groove to Mary Wells' My Guy. This Smokey Robinson penned track is the epitome of 60s soul, with a melody that sticks in your head. Wells left Motown shortly after this hit, claiming she was cheated out of royalties. It's a tale as old as the music industry itself, and one that makes you wonder, how many of today's artists actually own their own music? Hold on to your hats, folks, because it's time for a reality check. If you're enjoying this stroll down memory lane, why not share it with a friend? Hit that share button and spread the good word about real music. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to introduce one young person to the magic of 64. Trust me, their ears will thank you. All right, let's keep this party rolling with the Beach Boys' I Get Around. This track transports you to the sun-soaked beaches of California, but don't let the sunny harmonies fool you. This song is a rebellious anthem disguised as a feel-good hit. The lyrics are all about freedom and sticking it to the man, themes that resonate just as much today as they did back then. It's almost like the Beach Boys predicted the rise of social media influencers with lines like, "I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip," except instead of cruising the streets, kids today are scrolling endlessly through TikTok. Here's a tidbit that'll blow your mind. I Get Around was one of the first rock songs to use a keyboard bass, played by none other than Brian Wilson. While everyone else was focused on guitar riffs, the Beach Boys were pushing the boundaries of what rock could be. It's innovation like this that separates the legends from the one-hit wonders. Hold on to your leather jackets, because we're about to take a ride with the Shangri-Las and leader of the pack. This song isn't just a teen tragedy, it's a sonic movie that plays out in your head. The revving motorcycles, the dramatic pause before look out, look out, look out, it's pure theater for your ears. But let's not ignore the controversy. This song was banned by some radio stations for promoting gang culture and glorifying dangerous behavior. Imagine that happening today when explicit lyrics are as common as hashtags. Did you know that the motorcycle sounds in Leader of the Pack weren't actually motorcycles at all? The producers couldn't get a good recording of a real bike, so they ended up using a mixture of drums and someone blowing bubbles in a glass of milk. Talk about creativity trumping technology. Now, let's take a walk on the wild side with the Animals' House of the Rising Sun. The haunting organ, Eric Burdon's raw vocals, it's the antithesis of the polished pop dominating today's charts.
They cold rising sun.
But here's where it gets messy. The song's origins are as murky as the lyrics suggest. Is it about a brothel, a prison, a gambling den? The debate rages on. Speaking of mystery, here's a nugget of trivia that'll make you appreciate the spontaneity of 60s recording sessions. The Animals laid down House of the Rising Sun in just one take. One take. No endless tweaking, no pitch correction, no second guessing. It's almost unheard of in today's overproduced music landscape. Let's cool off with the Drifters, Under the Boardwalk. This song is like a cold drink on a hot summer day. Refreshing, satisfying, and instantly mood-lifting. But don't let the breezy melody fool you. This track is steeped in the complexities of race relations in 60s America. The Drifters were pushing boundaries just by existing, let alone creating hits. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful statements are made not through protest, but through excellence. Here's a bit of trivia that'll make you appreciate the resilience of 60s musicians. The lead singer, Rudy Lewis, was supposed to record Under the Boardwalk, but died the night before the session. Instead of canceling, the group brought in former lead Johnny Moore, who nailed the vocals we know and love today. Can you imagine a modern pop group pulling off something like that? Most would probably postpone the release and start a social media campaign. All right, if you're nodding along, tapping your feet, or feeling the urge to dig out your old records, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video and start a conversation about the golden age of music. Better yet, organize a listening party with your friends or family. Introduce the younger generation to these classics. Who knows? You might just save someone from a lifetime of auto-tuned mediocrity. Now, let's join the Dixie Cups for a little Chapel of Love. This sugary sweet tune might seem innocent on the surface, but it's got more layers than a wedding cake. Released in the midst of the civil rights movement, this song by an all-black girl group topping the charts was a big deal. It's a reminder that music has the power to bridge divides and bring people together. Here's a juicy tidbit about Chapel of Love. It was originally written for the Ronettes, but their producer, Phil Spector, sat on it. The Dixie Cups swooped in and made it their own, proving that sometimes the best things in life are the ones that don't go according to plan. It's a lesson the overmanaged pop stars of today could stand to learn. Let's class things up a bit with Dionne Warwick's Walk On By. This song is a masterpiece of emotional storytelling. Warwick's voice glides over the intricate melody with effortless, graceful, and captivating.
Each time with me, walk on by.
But let's not ignore the underlying message. In an era when women were often portrayed as passive in relationships, Walk On By presents a narrator who's taking control of her emotional state. Want to know something that'll make you appreciate the craftsmanship of 60s music even more? The instrumental track for Walk On By was recorded before the lyrics were even written. The writers heard the music and were inspired to pen the words we know and love. It's a testament to the collaborative spirit of the era, where every element of a song was given equal importance. Now, get ready to snap your fingers and sway, because we're diving into The Temptations' My Girl. This track, for all its feel-good vibes, My Girl was born out of professional jealousy. Smokey Robinson wrote it to prove he could craft a hit for The Temptations just as easily as he did for his own group, The Miracles. It's a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful art comes from the most human of emotions. Here's a fun fact that'll make you appreciate the spontaneity of 60s recording sessions. The iconic bass line that opens My Girl wasn't planned. Bassist James Jamerson came up with it on the spot, and it was so good they kept it. Can you imagine that happening in today's overproduced, focus-grouped music industry? All right, folks, it's time to twist and shout with the Beatles hit of the same name. Now, I know what you're thinking. Twist and Shout wasn't originally a Beatles song. You're right, but their version is the one that set a world on fire. It's raw, it's energetic, and it's proof that rock and roll isn't about perfection. It's about feeling.
Twist and shout, twist and shout.
John Lennon's voice is shredded. The band's barely holding it together, and yet it's absolute magic. Here's a piece of trivia that'll make you wince in sympathy. The Beatles recorded Twist and Shout at the end of a marathon 13-hour session, and John Lennon was suffering from a bad cold. That raspy, throat-shredding performance you hear? That's a man pushing himself to the limit for his art. Brace yourselves, because it's time for another reality check. If you've made it this far, you're clearly a person of impeccable taste. So why not spread the love? Share this video, start a conversation, maybe even organize a 60s themed party. Let's show the world that real music isn't dead. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to convert at least one person to the church of 60s music. Together, we can make the world a more melodious place. Now, let's slow things down with the Righteous Brothers and You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'. This track is a soul-stirring experience that makes most of today's love songs sound like nursery rhymes. Here's something interesting. Producer Phil Spector's wall of sound technique was so dense and complex that some radio stations initially refused to play the song, thinking it was too long and too unconventional. It's a reminder that true innovation often faces resistance. Here's a tidbit that'll blow your mind. You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin' is the most played song in radio history, with over 8 million airplays by the end of the 20th century. That's more than 45 years of continuous play. In an age of fleeting viral hits and disposable pop, that kind of staying power seems almost mythical. Let's class things up a bit with Barbra Streisand's People. Streisand's voice soars and dips, carrying lyrics that are deeply personal.
They're the luckiest people.
In an era dominated by rock and roll, Streisand dared to be different. She brought Broadway to the pop charts, proving that there's room for sophistication alongside the guitar riffs and drum solos. Want to know something that'll make you appreciate Streisand's talent even more? She recorded People in a single take, with a live orchestra. No auto-tune, no punching in, no digital trickery. Just pure, unadulterated talent captured in the moment. Get ready to groove, because we're diving into the Four Tops' Baby, I Need Your Lovin'. This track isn't just a song. It's a masterclass in vocal harmony and emotional delivery. Levi Stubbs' lead vocal is so raw and passionate, it makes most of today's singers sound like they're reading from a teleprompter. Some critics argue that Motown's polished sound and crossover appeal came at the cost of authenticity. Here's a fun fact that'll make you appreciate the spontaneity of 60s recording sessions. The iconic guitar lick that opens Baby I Need Your Lovin' was improvised on the spot by session musician Robert White. It wasn't written or planned, it just happened in the moment. Can you imagine that level of musicianship and creative freedom in today's meticulously planned and focus-grouped recording process? And finally, let's take a stroll with Petula Clark's Downtown. This upbeat ode to urban life brings with it a bit of irony. While Clark was singing about the joys of city life, many downtown areas in America were facing urban decay.
Only you can always go downtown.
It's a reminder that music often presents an idealized version of reality. Here's a bit of trivia that'll make you appreciate the global nature of 60s music. Downtown was recorded in 4 different languages by Clark herself: English, French, German, and Italian. I contrast that with today's music scene, where international often means a hastily Google translated verse tacked onto a remix. And there you have it, folks, a whirlwind tour through the #1 hits of 1964. It was a year of innovation, rebellion, and damn good music. So what's the takeaway from our journey through 1964's greatest hits? It's simple. Music isn't just about catchy tunes or slick production. It's about capturing the spirit of a moment, challenging the status quo, and creating something that resonates deep in the soul. Remember, folks, music isn't just entertainment. It's a reflection of who we are and who we aspire to be. So the next time you're tempted to dismiss the oldies as relics of a bygone era, take a moment to really listen. You might just discover that the best way to understand the present is to appreciate the past.